My 77 Mercury is giving me some problems. Mainly the fuel line ruptured, so the intake had legs of gas on top of it. So I'm just going to address that. And I bought a accelerator pump, or a carb kit for this engine, 400M. I'm going to fix the accelerator pump. You look at that, right there. There's a gap there. It's not supposed to be like that. Well, actually, it's closed now. They look like they're touching. When it was running, there was a little bit of a gap there. It created a dead spot. So when you accelerate, it's not going to go anywhere. It'll stall out on you. So it just needs an accelerator pump. Couldn't buy that on its own. I had to get a carb kit. You'd start this thing on a cold day. You couldn't pull a sick whore out of bed the way it runs. So I got to fix that and the fuel line. Motor craft, Holly, and just a 2-barrel carburetor. Lots of vacuum lines. I'm just gonna strip this motor down to keep what it needs and throw away what it doesn't. So I'll get back to you guys when I get the air cleaner off and access the problems. Next step, got the air cleaner breather box off. Now I'm working on this. This right here, it's just in the way. I'm going to see about removing it in general. Shine a light on for you. There, it just screws into the motor. Really can't get at it without going straight on top of it. So I'm going to remove all this doodads here and see about using a long deep well socket just to undo it. What this is here is just all emissions related. It's a backfire regulator valve of some sort. It's just what they did back in the day, just to get more pollution control on these engines and smog and pump and all that crap. So that's what the 70s were for you, so I'm gonna get rid of that. There's the pump down there, just ties into all of it. Unnecessary. But I'm doing a murdering two birds with one stone, basically, because this is in the way to get to the fuel line, and I don't need this anyway, so I'm going to remove this while fixing that. Got this kind of loose. Just needs a little more finagling. There. Now we just break it loose. Wouldn't you know it, out of battery on my camera. Well, this part's gonna get a little dull anyways. I'll let you guys go. I'll charge this camera up a bit while I figure out what to do with the rest of it. We'll pick it up from there. Switch to a different camera. I have an idea how to get rid of this. Moved a few spark plugs out of the way. This one on the carburetor goes to here, and this one over there, just stick it in this vent pipe. To get rid of this, I'm just gonna cut it off with this, trim it right down here. And I'll just use a deep well socket to undo that and cap it off. So I'll get back to you when that's done. Got it to work. I cut it off at one length. It just wasn't enough. It was still at a slight curve, so I cut it again. Almost there. It was getting too low to the point where I couldn't go any further without affecting the distributor and anything else neighboring it. So what I had to do is I cut it this way and crossways, and then I hammered it down with a ball peen hammer to shorten it, and this fits right on it. 11/16. There we go. Now it's just a matter of getting the right adapters and sockets and all that hootenanny, and it'll come right off. And I'll get a cap for that. Replace that. And keep going on until it's all fixed. That's where we're at right now. We'll get to the next step. Overkill much? If it works, it works. It's the only thing I find for leverage. It wants to go. If it works, it works. Yeah, always keep your pipe handy. There you go. Now we go to the hardware store, find a cap with this thread fitting, ass end, block it off, and move on to the fuel lines. Next step. See you guys when I'm there. Got some toys. Fuel filter. Fitting that matches this. Let's see here. Got a reducer into that. That's the cap. It had a cap, just basically stops right there, but I wanted to extend the length just a little bit to make it easy with a ratchet. Now we're going to plug that hole and work on those fuel lines. I'll put a fuel filter right in that area, but only after I get that plug in. We'll get to that in a minute. Couple of turns and it's in there. I don't think Teflon tape or thread tape was needed. It's tight enough. Now to do the lines. I'm going to put the fuel filter right there. That should be the right size. Well, any bigger, they have bigger ones, but I don't think that would fit in that space. It'd be kind of bulky. So I think I'll fit in there all right. Now we're going to start to get onto that. Don't need that bag on there no more. Now to get these tied up and ready to go. All done. Yeah, it's capped off and one end is connected to the other. I couldn't fit the fuel filter in there, just not enough room. So I'll have to try another spot on the fuel system. It's fine anywhere it's put in if it's an inline fuel filter, which is what it is. Let's see, where do I got that thing put? Right here. I'll just put this somewhere else in the system. I could move it there, but I'll have to rework that some other place. So now that's capped off. It used to arch over here to here. Got this temporary dealy bop here screwed in. Total hackery, but it'll work just to plug it off. It's the only thing I could find that'll fit. But it'll work in the meantime. So I would take the rest of this off. It's crude, but it'll work. All that's left is to start it up and watch the line for any leaks. And right there isn't fuel, that's oil. It's such a tight fit for the line to slip onto the hard line. I took the oil dipstick, pulled it out, and put a few drips on the fittings on each end. And it slid right on. Little tech tip for you. Now it's just to fire this thing up and see if it'll leak. Shouldn't take long. Should be pretty instantaneous. If it's going to leak, I'll do it right away. Won't take long to find out if it's working or not. This is positive. Okay. Looks okay. No debris on the motor. Let it run. It's gonna be fucking loud because it's a straight pipe car inside of a garage. Tantamount of lighting off an M80 in a bathroom. I compare it to that type of loudness. I'll put up with it just to put it to rest. The fuel system's working. It always does that. It'll run for 5 seconds and it'll stall. You turn it on again and it'll keep idling. Okay, no leaks. I consider that a win. Now it's just a matter of getting to that accelerator pump next. It's getting too dark to do that. I'm going to call it a day for this. I'll work on it another time for the accelerator pump part.